Angel of Death Challenge.
I know what's
On
going on,
June
man.
3rd, 2022, an 18-year-old teen tragically passed away after falling in front of a truck in Tangerang, Indonesia.
Damn.
However, what made this particular incident stand out...
Indonesia got some
dozens of
crazy-ass
truck-related
stories,
deaths
ghost
on Indonesian
stories,
roads
fucking
every day
scary-ass
this was
shit.
not an accident. Instead, this was the result of one of the most disturbing internet trends that was sweeping the country during this time. It had actually started back in 2021, but exploded in popularity in mid-2022. The trend was called the Malaikat Maut Challenge, or the Angel of Death Challenge in English. It involved TikTokers, mainly teenagers, playing a game with oncoming traffic,
Like chicken?
particularly loaded trucks. Their goal was to run out onto a busy street in front of a truck, hope it stops before hitting them without flinching, and post a video of the stunt online. But completing this dangerous challenge successfully was a lot harder than many of its unfortunate participants realized. Most of them jumped onto the road as the truck got extremely close, giving the driver virtually no time to notice them and apply the brakes. But even when drivers had enough time to see the kids performing these stunts,
bro, is that
they
someone
still couldn't
underneath
slow
there?
down in time to prevent tragedy. Trucks usually carry heavy cargo, and that weight doesn't stop on a dime. The heavier the load, the longer the braking distance.
That sounds crazy.
Sometimes stretching dozens of meters, even after the brakes are fully pressed. So by the time the drivers reacted, it was already too late. Not to mention the fact that this trend was also putting the truck drivers at risk, both physically and psychologically.
Oh, for sure.
For one of these cases, involving a 14-year-old participating in this challenge, the driver fled the scene, likely out of fear of facing criminal charges. If he had instead stopped and cooperated, the footage the teenager's friends captured for TikTok would have proven his innocence. But by running away, he turned himself into a hit-and-run suspect, potentially jeopardizing his job and even his freedom depending on the charges he received. Following the incident in Tangerang, Indonesian police acted quickly to prevent further tragedies. They managed to stop 14 more kids from attempting the same dangerous stunt that very day and continued to monitor the city over the upcoming months. However, the attempts in Tangerang, Indonesia were only a small part of the global trend that cost several lives and left many others with life-altering injuries over the next year. Thankfully, TikTok eventually stepped in and removed all content related to the Angel of Death challenge. And since social media validation
I've never seen this
was the main
challenge
reason
before.
participants took part in this dangerous trend, the platform's ban caused it to gradually fade into obscurity.
I had never seen that fucking TikTok trend. Or whatever you want to call it.
Slapping. On the 21st of January 2005, the Tez magazine in the UK reported on a new trend spreading rapidly across the country, something they referred to as happy slapping. Contrary to its name, however, the trend was anything but happy. In essence, it involved people, often young adults or teenagers, going up to a random person, slapping them, recording their shocked reaction, and then sharing that video with others. Personal camcorders and phones with cameras were becoming a lot more accessible during this time, allowing the attackers to record their crime and share it.
That's crazy, bro. I'm fucking beating someone's ass. They're doing that to me.
Videos were shared all over the internet for the whole world to see. As for how this trend initially started,
putting the pause on you if you do that shit.
Linked them to violent TV shows like Jackass and Dirty Sanchez.
Shit, boys get bullied.
A big difference between these shows and the happy slapping videos, however, was that everyone on TV consented to enduring the pain on camera. The people filming happy slapping videos, on the other hand,
I think that shit was on bum fights back in the day.
And bystanders for what they perceived as social clout. As a media expert from that time explained it, what we see the kids watching these shows doing is thinking, well, maybe I could stage my own scenes of pain and humiliation along these lines. Then with happy slapping, people are drawn in as
slapping someone might have a fucking firearm on and just lay some shit out.
I think
you on a t-shirt, man, you'd be surprised. That's why you can't be slapping random people. You don't know what people are going through, or fucking you don't know what they got on them, like damn.
And while that was already bad enough on its own, things quickly took an even darker turn. As time went on, the recordings became increasingly violent, likely in an effort to outdo one another and stand out in the sea of dozens, if not hundreds of similar videos.
I never heard of that shit.
Humiliating but physically harmless slaps to coordinated attacks resulting in permanent injuries. One of the worst cases of this happened on August 31st, 2009 in South London. A 67-year-old retired care worker named Ekram Haq left the mosque on Church Lane in Tooting, England after the evening prayer, where he was then approached by two boys, 15-year-old Hamza Lazai and 16-year-old Leon Elcock, wanting to make a happy slapping video. Things quickly spiraled out of control as neither of them held back, resulting in Ekram passing away a week later from a severe head injury he received during the incident. The two were eventually identified and arrested after police reviewed CCTV footage from a nearby camera.
He died
Both pled guilty to manslaughter. with Leon receiving
Oh, that's
a
messed up. That's his
4.5-year
daughter with them?
sentence and Hamza sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. The happy slapping trend as a whole eventually faded away after the UK and the surrounding countries started treating it as a significant threat to public safety, with France even criminalizing it and giving it a punishment of up to 5 years in prison. Skullbreaker Challenge. On February 14th, 2020, 12-year-old Parker Smith was invited by his friends to film what seemed like a harmless jumping contest with them. He agreed, and on camera jumped the highest.
I have never heard of these fucking
landing safely on his feet, he fell backward and fractured his right arm. He was rushed to the hospital immediately and fortunately made a full recovery over the following weeks. However, what seemed like a simple accident turned out to be part of a disturbing internet trend his two friends were attempting to recreate. The so-called Skullbreaker Challenge required 3 people to stand in a line and somehow convince the person in the middle to jump. As soon as they did, the two on the outside swept the legs of the one in the middle who was usually unaware of what was about to happen. This caused them to fall backward, usually on their head, which is where the trend got its name from.
Yeah, that's
It started earlier that year after a video of 2 students from Spain doing it on their friend went viral on social media platforms like TikTok, prompting countless imitators to try and recreate success. And, as you might imagine, the results were disastrous, with Parker being one of the lucky ones for walking away with just a fractured arm. Many others were knocked unconscious by the impact, suffered from severe concussions.
You can break a neck, bro, or your spinal cord, like,
The most devastating of these incidents happened on January 24, 2020.
That shit ain't nothing to fuck with, bro. That shit is dangerous as hell.
You
gotta watch out and shit what you do.
Unfortunately, the victim fell way too hard on their head, causing them to lose consciousness and have a seizure.
Ooh.
He luckily survived the incident and eventually recovered.
Got brain damage, bro. Like, come on.
However, his initial condition was bad enough that authorities arrested the other 2 13-year-old boys. They were charged with 3rd-degree aggravated assault and 3rd-degree endangering an injured victim, since the harm they caused was mostly intentional. Now, I wasn't able to find any
it's true. It is kind of intentional, Like, you don't think you're gonna hurt them because you're doing it as a joke, but
attempting a dangerous internet challenge goes to show
just
how dangerous it can be. TikTok also stepped in and banned all videos of this challenge on their platform. Unfortunately, once something is on the internet, it never truly goes away. As evident from 2 girls finding videos of the Skullbreaker Challenge, attempting it on one of their classmates, injuring them, and getting charged for it in November 2022, more than 2.5 years after the original fad ended. Fortunately, there haven't been many reports of kids getting injured because of this challenge ever since. Kia Challenge. Near the end of 2020 and throughout 2021, authorities in Milwaukee, Wisconsin noticed a significant increase in car theft. What made this even stranger was the fact that the majority of these stolen vehicles were either from Kia or Hyundai, with theft of these particular cars doubling or even tripling in some areas compared to previous years. However, before investigators could determine the cause of this surge, the situation spiraled beyond their control in ways they could have never expected. Put simply, stealing Kia and Hyundai cars became an internet trend called the Kia Challenge.
Yeah,
it began on July 12, 2022, when a video captioned Kia.
That's just been like that since like back then, though. So it's just not really nothing new.
Kia and Hyundai cars
they're just easy to break into.
2011 and 2021. All a thief needed was a screwdriver and any regular USB cable, since the connector just so happened to be the perfect size and shape.
That is fucking crazy, bro.
This was a major hardware-level security flaw in dozens of car models, and there was no permanent way to fix the problem either. Now, the original Kia Boys video was eventually taken down by TikTok, but the information was already out there, and it already sparked the Kia Challenge. Teenagers across the US started breaking into Kias and Hyundais and posting their stunts on social media to participate in the challenge. While the stolen cars caused a massive financial burden for hundreds of innocent residents, the real danger of the Kia Challenge came from what many of them
seen out the window like that while they're driving. That's just dangerous as hell.
Since many of them had no intention of actually profiting off the stolen cars and were only doing it for the internet, they began taking the cars for reckless joyrides around town, putting their lives and the lives of everyone else
dangerous as hell. That's crazy.
Danger. One of these joyrides led to a police chase, which eventually ended with the out-of-control car slamming into the concrete barrier and the teenagers who stole the car trying to flee on foot. The most disturbing of these incidents occurred in Buffalo, New York in October 2022, where a stolen Kia ride ended in a fatal crash, taking the lives of 4 teenagers. In total, the Kia Challenge resulted in the loss of 8 lives before the disturbing trend was shut down by TikTok and other social platforms. Kia and Hyundai also had to settle a class action lawsuit for $200 million over the dangerously lax security in their cars.
That's crazy, bro.
Car surfing.
Damn.
Car surfing or riding on the outside.
Okay,
of a car
that's
as if
just
it were a
stupid. You
surfboard has
deserve to
existed as a
fucking
trend
come
long
on,
before
bro.
modern
Like,
social media was even a thing. It started gaining popularity in the early 1990s.
motherfuckers think they're in Fast and
propelling
Furious and
teenagers
shit.
and young
Paul
adults
Walker
to
and Vin
speed
Diesel
down the
just jumping
highway
from
while
car to car.
precariously
Like, come on,
balancing
bro.
themselves on top. Today, most
You ain't
modern
Toretto.
cars don't have much to hang on to on the outside to improve aerodynamics, which makes this already high-risk activity even
That's
more
dangerous,
It
bro.
only takes one small slip for even the most daring car surfer
Fucking
to
end
fall
up
into
eating the
road.
concrete.
Something
Dead.
that's evident from a 2008 CDC report, which revealed that 58 people lost their lives while engaging in car surfing, and 41 others were severely injured since 1990. Unfortunately, the rise of social media and the desire to go viral with outrageous stunts
Hey,
have
people
only
are
driven
fucking
that number
stupid
higher ever
nowadays, bro.
since.
Just for
Most recently, in May 2023, a
just to look
16-year-old boy tragically lost his life while car surfing out the back window of a car when the vehicle lost control
Damn,
and rolled
IG,
over.
come on,
He would have
cuz.
almost certainly kept his life if he were in his seat with a seatbelt. Sadly, the car surfing trend is just as alive today as it was 3
Oh, that's
decades
dangerous,
ago,
bro.
and shows no signs of fading away anytime soon. Blackout
That's
challenge.
crazy. I feel like dumbass for.
The
Like,
blackout
if you do that challenge,
has
bro, that's just
existed
stupid
long
as
before
fuck.
social media. The goal in this
That's why you chug
challenge is
yourself,
to
huh?
achieve a brief high that comes from cutting off oxygen to the brain by intentionally suffocating until
Yeah,
you
I've
lose
seen that challenge
consciousness.
before.
However, while many assume that blacking out from lack of oxygen is perfectly safe in the long run, that couldn't be further
You
from
can
the
just fall and
truth.
just
The rewarding
fucking hit your
high
head.
in this challenge
no one's not
is
around
in
to catch you.
reality a dangerous form of
Or they just
cerebral
let you fall.
hypoxia, where brain cells are deprived of vital oxygen. This can lead to seizures and hemorrhages. Even if someone survives the challenge seemingly unharmed, depriving the brain of oxygen for just a minute can cause permanent, irreversible damage. This can affect memory, reasoning, and other critical cognitive functions in the long run. The line between a fleeting dangerous
bro,
thrill
don't-
and
that's-
irreversible tragedy is terrifyingly
That's sad as
thin,
fuck.
and once consciousness is lost, there is no way to control the outcome. Not to mention the very real risk of the person never waking up again. Unfortunately, many who try to recreate this challenge are completely
damn.
unaware of these dangers,
They're just
resulting
young
in
people.
82 people losing their lives between 1995 and 2007 alone.
They're just
What
young.
makes this even worse is that almost all of these deaths were between the ages of 6 and 19. Much like other viral
fucking
trends,
sad.
young
They're
and
young.
impressionable kids are especially drawn in, motivated by peer pressure or the need for validation, online or in real life. Which is why the resurgence of the
Yeah,
blackout
it's
challenge
most likely
through
peer
social
pressure.
media
People be like, oh,
platforms
you're a
like TikTok
chicken.
brought it to an
Everybody
even
gets in there.
younger
That shit gets to
audience and
people's
left a
heads. Like,
devastating
nah,
trail
bro.
of victims. One of the most well-known cases is that of Nyla Anderson, a 10-year-old girl from Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's
Her
sad.
family found her unconscious on the bedroom floor on the night of December 7, 2021. They rushed her to the nearby hospital. Unfortunately, it was already too late. After barely clinging to life for 5 days, she tragically passed away without ever waking up. No one
That's
knew why
fucking
she would do
sad.
something like this, until investigators did a forensic analysis of her phone, which revealed she had been viewing videos of the challenge on TikTok. Another tragic instance happened in April
That's
2022
sad, bro.
when a 12-year-old boy from the United Kingdom named Archie Battersby suffered catastrophic brain damage after attempting the challenge and passed away months later. And these weren't isolated
Damn,
incidents
bro,
either.
that's fucking sad.
Numerous
These
other
kids are
children,
young,
some
bro.
as young as 8,
That's
suffered a
sad.
similar fate or other life-altering injuries after attempting this challenge. Sadly, despite social media sites' best efforts to suppress the challenge,
I never
it
seen that
continues to
challenge on
spread to this day.
TikTok before. I heard that challenge like a long time ago. Because a lot of people should do that shit, but I never seen it on TikTok. That's sad as hell, bro. Fuck. Rest in peace to people who lost their lives over that shit or any of these challenges. But damn, that's sad as hell. Hey, let me know what you guys want to see, man. I'm out, man. Peace.